This video contains spoilers for Lost Belt 4. If you have not read Lost Belt 4, I would advise clicking off after the timestamp. What does it mean to be a hero? This is a common question asked by people, and a topic of constant importance to all titles in the Fate series. There exist many answers to this question, for there is not a single true answer to such a mundane yet grand inquiry. Some would perhaps reject the idea of heroes entirely, saying that they blind the people to their true evil. Another would define a hero as somebody that is able to realize their ideals without succumbing to their weight. Yet another may revel in their status as a hero, being greedy and gaudy, yet wise all the same. While someone else would live but a humble life in pursuit of fulfilling the expectations vested in them, never disregarding their master, nor their opponent. Amongst the multitude of approaches, there is one man who doesn't reject his wealth, but neither is he concerned with it. The endowed hero, Arjuna, who was given everything he ever needed, with no need to exert himself. Destined to be great, yet he did not take this blessed life as an excuse to be lazy, diligently exerting the effort he needed to be worthy of the title of a hero. Integrous and upright, he knows what is right and wrong. In truth, this aspect of his personality is flawless, just as he had hoped, something that serves as a role model for all people. And yet, it is because he has a strong sense of morality that he is the one who is most ashamed of himself. It is not that he attempts to humble himself to a ridiculous degree, nor that he extols his own greatness to those around him beyond what he deserves. It is that he views himself, indeed, as someone that is evil, one unfit to be a hero in truth. His true nature, as he defines it, is that of a man who schemes, a man who takes pleasure in subverting that which he is supposed to hold dear, his own integrity as a hero. If even just an opportunity presents itself for a cowardly scheme, he will consider it in his head until he is satisfied with a way to enact it. That is why he is a hero, only as long as nobody knows. Or rather, to ensure that he continues to be a hero, nobody else must know the truth about him. He is a hero that is widely loved by others, and he in turn loves them back. But it is only a matter of time before his eyes grow cold again, and he stares into the distance, letting his wicked thoughts wander, and letting his own self-hatred eat away at him. If his true nature were to ever be found out, he would be obligated to kill those that know. Not to protect himself personally, but to protect the image of the hero that is called Arjuna. The image of a hero must never be tarnished. A hero that has evil in them is no hero, thus nobody must know of this evil. One would argue that thoughts alone do not make one evil, as long as one dismisses them. But that is short-sighted, for those thoughts, through their existence alone, eat away at one's integrity. In fact, Arjuna himself believed in this idea, that by simply rejecting his aspect, he would remain an upright hero. As long as he could regulate himself, he would be a hero, and then he would be loved and fulfill his purpose. But then the destined day came, where he fought his one true rival. The day his mind and heart changed from that of a heroic warrior to that of something that kills. A fact nobody else judges him for, nobody else ever paid attention to. Karna, in the midst of suffering betrayal, smiled at Arjuna, not to taunt him, but to convey all the emotions he had in battle, all the emotions he had towards Arjuna, and Arjuna's arrow shot down the sun without mercy. It could be said Karna was fated to lose, but the fate of his death was undecided. At that moment, Arjuna chose out of malice and enmity, a fate most unsuited for a great figure. Was it out of pettiness for Karna's display of skill? Because there was something they could never agree on? Whatever the reason, Karna died while gracing Arjuna with his most sincere feelings before his own end. There is no way he did not know, the man who discerns one's true nature simply with the glance. That is why Arjuna must never be discerned by others, for it would not merely destroy the image of the endowed hero, but it would bring shame to the hero of benevolence much the same. To be killed, not out of equal understanding, but out of calculated malice. That would be to bring shame to the legend. Arjuna's true desire is that of putting his entire being on the line. His vast wealth, his excellence, his skills, his heart as a warrior, the love vested into him. To win means to prove that all of these things had value, to experience unparalleled exhilaration. That is why, when he had the chance to do so against his fated rival, when he squandered it because he saw the perfect opportunity to kill, his heart broke. He could not keep his own darkness at bay. His own desire was not enough to overcome his own evil. Thus he is a failure, but it is a fact only he knew in full. For this first path he chose, he rejected that aspect of him. A secret he took to the grave. Evil did not exist within him, and no evidence besides him existed to prove it. Because no evil existed, he did not need to have regrets, as long as he denied his evil. And to deny his evil, he would have to keep his distance from everyone else. His wish at that moment became that of acquiring solitude. He serves those that summon him under that one condition, that they keep their distance, that they do not search to build trust, that they do not try to find out the truth. But his wish for solitude is simply his desperation to keep alive the glorious legend that he and his rival created. Even if he dishonored Karna by robbing himself of the joy of a warrior's battle, it would be fine as long as everyone does not know the true intent behind that arrow. To blame it on fate, on destiny, on their story, not on the hero who shot the arrow. Despite his intentions, the nature of a servant, the nature of bonds prohibits that. Simply by existing, one day someone will take interest. Even the threat of death will at one point be not enough to dissuade others from prying into his affairs, especially by simply existing in the same location as his fated rival. Their shared destiny will never be broken. By trying to have the Holy Grail fulfill his wish, he has to accept the bonds he will create. If he truly desired solitude, would he even be summoned? Arjuna knows what a hero is, and how they must behave. He admits to his way of keeping distance being unbecoming of a hero. Above all else, he will always know what a hero is, regardless of how far he strays from the path, which means that he is the one who despises his own evil the most. At the end of this twisted path he had begun walking as a servant, what awaits him is eventually confrontation with his inner darkness. Something that not only involves himself, but his master. What was the reason that he so vehemently denied his darkness, a common trait of those that are human? It's because he was a hero, someone meant to be above such flaws, one who was born and raised with the privilege that comes with being the endowed hero. Something else had to take the blame, whether it be the idea of a hidden personality, or destiny. It simply had to be something he must have no control over. But, by being encouraged to hold dear his own beliefs, he knows that there exists no other path except admittance to his crime. If he judges it as a crime, then he committed a crime. He must not twist his beliefs to give him respite. He must not create a scapegoat to blame his evil on. It is his burden to carry, if he truly believes in the idea of a hero. In doing so, he will of course be shamed, especially because of his master witnessing the truth. But at the same time, it strengthens his conviction to fight and serve the one who accepted his evil. Rather than seek an excuse to keep his distance, he will be more willing to be honest about it. In truth, he does not desire the Holy Grail, similar to Karna. What he desires is to be able to place his faith in his summoner, to devote himself to them, so he may show them the full extent of the meaning behind his title as the endowed hero. That is the meaning behind Arjuna giving their master the arrow that shot down Karna, his greatest achievement and greatest sin. But what if, rather than rejecting his evil, or just regretting his actions, he would despair at his evil, at the evil in humans, at the evil in gods, at the world's evil? For this second path, he does not accept regret and carry its burden. He is consumed and crushed by it. The hero Arjuna lost the right to call himself a hero. A moment of weakness robbed him of everything he held dear, and that moment of weakness became the continuation of bloodshed. All that remained was a weak man that beheld all the world's evil, only retaining his own sense of righteousness. He knows what is right, he knows what is wrong, and everything that he knows about is something he can only call evil. Why did nothing change? Why did they continue to kill one another? Why did I have to kill? Why did nothing change? Why did they continue to suffer? Why did I continue to suffer? Why did nothing change? Why did they accept this? Why did I accept this? There will be change. They will change. I will make change happen. It is hard to describe how much he hated evil. A man who was a hero at heart, and one who adored being a hero. It is out of his hatred for evil and his love for good that he strived to be a hero, but because of his own evil, he stripped himself of the right to call himself a hero, the right to adore heroism, the right to love. All he had left was a hatred for evil of any kind. On this path, the hero Arjuna ceased to exist, but there was no point in remaining human if you couldn't fight evil, if you couldn't change the fact that the world was filled with evil. Beyond the sky, there was a dream of a perfect world, one that not even the gods could reach. If the choice was between his weak, evil human self, or the prospect of divine absolution and salvation, to the hero Arjuna, a most horrid idea, but to the man Arjuna, the only correct choice he could take. Out of desperation to repent, out of desperation to be able to feel fulfilled again, out of the desire to want people to smile eternally, he would crush the gods' evil and step above them. He would crush humanity's evil until perfection arose. He would crush the world itself as many times as it took. He even would crush himself and abandon everything about himself to make his dream a reality. The love once vested into him was repaid with slaughter, ruthlessly conquering the gods, subjugating humanity, obtaining control over the world. He had no reason to shy away from committing additional evil, as his goal was to create a world where even his own evil would not exist by the end. The final dark god that desired paradise was born. He exchanged everything he held dear for the sake of his path. The more he tried, the further he got, yet if he didn't try, he would never reach it. The world cycled again and again. People died, people lived, evil died, yet evil still lived. Evil continued on no matter how much he tried. Why does it exist? Where does it exist? In whom does it exist? What shapes does it take? What is evil, even? At the very end, this method itself was evil. An evil method will not get rid of evil, but neither would a good method get rid of evil. So he continued, even if the method is flawed, he will just need to narrow everything down. Every possible source of evil will be rendered extinct. The desire to hurt one another is evil. The desire to abandon those that love you, which is evil. To be wounded is to be weak, which means you cannot protect what you love. That too is evil. Because if nothing else, he did indeed keep destroying that which was evil, over and over again. So how does one save someone who does not want to be saved until all evil is extinguished? Is it to remind them of what they hold dear? Is it to disprove the feasibility of their ways and beliefs? Or is it to crush their own ambitions? This regret began with his fated rival, that he could not kill in a way that was proper. The one man who deserved it the most, Arjuna's true equal. As fate would have it, the hero of benevolence will save his own rival, his own killer. For what purpose did these cycles start? Once his humanity reawakened at the sight of the person that meant so much to him, he would scream the answer at the top of his lungs. It is to trample down all that was evil in this beautiful world. Because the world is beautiful, evil needs to be crushed. At the end, all his actions were done with that belief at its core, that evil is worth fighting, even if it is a battle one cannot win, for evil is but a shadow, always lingering, yet vague and out of sight. The moment one tries to search for it, they will always see it at the very edge of their eyes, yet no matter how often they turn to face it, it will have disappeared. Even if one thinks they slayed it, it turns out to still be out of sight. That is why the realm of evil belongs to neither god nor human. yet it casts its shadow over both. That is why the sky is the realm of gods, something that humans mustn't envy, but something they will eventually be able to look beyond. That is why the earth is the realm of stories, something that limits those that walk on it, while giving them directions where to move. And Arjuna is a man who has his foot in all these realms, a hero, a man, a god. Arjuna the hero is one who treasures his role as a hero above all else, whose duty, obligation and personal beliefs make him strive to be flawless and diligent with every decision he makes, to never disappoint those that end up believing in him. Arjuna the man is one who treasures the simplicity and kindness in the world, who uses his divine authority to protect it from the evil that could endanger it. He feels pride in his hatred of evil, something that an omnipotent god could never do. In that regard, because he had such strong feelings about evil, a strong visceral hatred, he never could be perfect. But that is just fine, for he would never want to tolerate it. So then, what remains to be asked is, what does it mean to be a hero? To the two of them, to him, the one and only Arjuna, it means to do their best, to strive towards flawlessness, whilst having their feet remain on the ground, to never lose their sense of direction. It is to be able to believe in those that summon them, and have faith in their orders so they can fight. Just like his rival believes in humans with a great warmth, he too will try to do the same. After all, he could never allow himself to lose to him, of all people. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this analysis into Arjuna's character, and a huge thanks to Sparrow once again for script writing, as well as a thank you to Dio for providing me with the animation of Karna and Arjuna. Now this is me signing off, and I hope to see you again soon.